Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's Saturday morning, the 12th of March, 2022. I'm going to take a quick look at the markets, and I'll be using HCSI investment software like I always do. I only use this program, Thinkorswim, and EdgeRater. But I'm going to concentrate on HCSI because that's where I spend the bulk of my time. Now, where I am, if you want to follow along, if you are an Insider Club member, you have these files. I'm in my top-down market analysis warehouse view, number 2, with ETFs. If I just limit it to this one, it just has the major indexes plus one ETF, but I'm using view number 2 because it lets the ETFs in also, and I get a broader look at the market. And I'm sorted on raw combo, and you can see that that is percentage price change one day. So when I sort in this column, it brings this information up. Now the charts that I have down here at the bottom are related to the NASDAQ Composite right now. I may change these as I go through this. But this is my setup. Why do I have this setup? Because it gives me a very quick look at the market. I can look up here and see that gasoline was up 4.4% yesterday, but over 5 days it's down 6.7%. From the beginning of the year, I can see that gas is up 41.2%, and it closed at 67.95% of its daily range, and volume was heavy. So I'll just bring up gasoline. I'm just going to stick with the NASDAQ chart for right now because I'm going to get to the NASDAQ here in a second. I'm going to hit my alternate 1 key, and what that does is it gives me a close-up view. Now you can see down here that the volume is well above the 90-day simple moving average of the volume. What do we have here? We have an inside day. But looking at the weekly chart, if I click on alternate W, then we get a look at the weekly chart, and you can see that it was down for the week. So that corresponds with these columns. Now I'm going to go back to the daily chart by hitting my alternate D keys. So sell off here, inside day on Friday on heavier volume. And I know that the volume's heavier on Friday because I look at this compared to the 90-day moving average. On the other hand, I can see that it's down 24.1% from the prior day, and the 90-day moving average volume on this ETF is only 74,000. I can also see that the fan is up. The fan is when the moving averages, the exponential moving averages are in line. The 18's above the 50, and the 50's above the 100, and the 100's above the 200, and you can see that there is a fan formation. So that's up. We can also see that gasoline is down 14.1% from its 52-week high and up 92.1% from its 52-week low. Now this can be done, of course, for anything that's visible in here. Here's USO. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you can see that the percentage price change one day was up, but it was down for the week. I will take a look at this chart. So here's the daily chart. You can see that there was, it looks like what's called a climax run on this day, and then a doji form. Next day it dropped down, but now we have an inside day, and it's looking for direction at this point. But an inside day, I wouldn't be surprised to see it go up again on Monday. In addition to the fan trends, the other VPA trends are over here. You can see long-term, intermediate term, and short-term, and you can see why the short-term is down, because on a daily basis it's down. Now, there is no VPA flag today. If there's a VPA flag on any of these, it's going to say yes on that day, and then it's going to be color-coded so you can tell if it's bullish, bearish, or neutral. And this is the number of days since there was a last VPA signal was generated. Also, the volume point of control, negative or positive, and there are some other fields here you may want to look at. Percent Bongo daily, weekly, and the percent close from the 52-week high and low. So, looking at this snapshot, you can tell that there's pressure, upside pressure on the gasoline, oil, natural gas, the UVXY, the Ultra VIX short-term futures volatility is up yesterday. Here it is right here. I'll put this up here. It's been bouncing all over the place as a reflection of what the market's been doing. Now, I'm not going to go through all these. This is a scorecard. I call it my scorecard view because it just gives me a quick read on what's happening in the market now. Going all the way down to the bottom here, you can see the NASDAQ 100, the Bitcoin Trust, which has been all over the place. You can see it's clearly in a trading range here. There are lofty expectations for Bitcoin. I haven't seen it yet. I mean, yes, it's well off of its lows, but it's well off of its highs too. Here's a monthly chart. A weekly chart on this trust, and it was up around 58, and now it's down. Oh well, where is the closing price today? I guess it's easier to look here. It closed at 25.51. Also, looking down here at this middle chart, you can see where it is relative to the moving averages. Here's the 200, the 100, the 50, and the 18. It's trading below all of them, clearly in a downtrend. Now let's go to the NASDAQ Composite. This is where I usually start every day. It's just an old habit. And I'm going to do an alternate 2 to give me this view. And I posted on Facebook and in the group, the HCSI group, that there was a bullish flag on Thursday. And there was. If you look up here at the top, I'll put my arrow on here, sentiment on that day was bullish. Why? Because there was a low volume test. This volume's lower than the preceding days, and it closed near the high of the day, and look where it opened. There was optimism at the open, but by the time the market closed, it closed near its daily low. Where did it close? It closed at 3%, 3.13% of its daily range. With the war going on in Ukraine, it's just nearly impossible to trade this market, and if you're trying to pick the bottom, it's very difficult, to say the least. So, looking at this, as I pointed out on Friday, I'm going to get rid of this and do this again. For this to turn to an uptrend, we have a low here. This is actually a higher low here. And this I would consider a higher high from this higher low. It's going to have to break past this area, and this could be the beginning of an uptrend. Okay, so here, I'll just use this one here. This is a low. This would be a high. Coming back down here. Here's a low. But a new higher high has to be established beyond this one. And then we may be in the beginning of an uptrend. But we're a long way from that. Let's change this to a weekly chart. On the weekly chart, here's the high. Any of these, okay, here's a low here. Any of these could be a lower high in this range. Let's say that's a lower high. It broke that, came all the way down here, and established a lower low. Here's a lower high. This one's a little bit higher. Here's a lower low. That is not a closing high. I shouldn't have drawn that in there. So we don't have a higher high on this weekly chart. So on the weekly chart, it's clearly in a downtrend. Okay, let's get out of here. I'll minimize this. I want to look at this other chart here. This is the NASDAQ Composite with the internals. You can see that the internals have really been going down for quite some time. They leveled out here, and then they started down. Accumulation distribution is now back down to D. It did get up to C in this area right here because it looked like the market was going to rally, but then when you consider not only the AD line but the moving averages, this puts it in perspective. The 18 closed, let's see here, 18 closed below the 50 at this point. Then they broke down, both of them broke down through the 100 and then through the 200. The 18 remains well below the 50. So trend is down. I mean, I've stated that. It's obvious. Let's take a quick look at the weekly chart. I did this already. I don't have the moving averages on there, but you can see that this 30-week line or 26-week line has been violated, and the trend is down. See how strong this market was when this line was uptrending? It's a 26-week simple moving average of the closing price. Before I leave here, I'm going to switch to a different view. I'm just going to go to the number 4 view, short on raw combo. It's the combo rank has changed since the beginning of the year. And you can see this column right here. If it's intraday, you can get the intraday prices in here with Thinkorswim running in the background. So where are we here? Since the beginning of the year, the VIX futures are up 60%, gasoline up 41.2, oil up 40.5, natural gas up 34.4, commodity index 34.4, and so on down the list. Weakness, Bitcoin Investment Trust down 25.5%, biotech down 21%. Since the beginning of the year, the NASDAQ Composite's down 17.9%. Now, if you come over here, you can see the column, the percentage down from the 52-week high, and we are clearly in a bear market on the NASDAQ and the NASDAQ 100 because traditionally the bear market is at 20% or low. The Innovator IBD fund is down 30% from the 52-week high. Bitcoin is down 54.3% from the 52-week high. So this is good information. It's just a quick read. That's view number 4. If you want to see any other time period here, you can just sort on that column. Here's the percentage price change 1 day, etc. You can do this with stocks. Also, you don't have to just do it with this. This view is number 4 under top down, and here's the performance versus the S&P 500. I find this one more useful though, but if you're interested in seeing how these performed against the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is represented as 1, anything above 1. For example, oil fund is outperforming by 21% over the 10-day period versus the S&P 500. Now, it's not all doom and gloom if you happen to be in the correct groups. I'm going to go to, I'll just go up here to all securities. I'm going to click on, well, it's already here. I'm going to go to under my daily prospecting screens. I'm going to go to market leaders, and I'm going to get out of this view. Just going to go down to my daily analysis charts. I'll do the daily VPA flags. Go to this view right here, and I'll sort on raw combo. These are market leaders. You can see here that you get a much different picture if you're in the correct groups. I'm going to change this one to, I'll use this view, my undercut and rally view, and I'll just leave this one here on the weekly charts. Get this out of the way, make this full screen for now, click on the spectrum analyzer, and you can see where the strength has been: exploration and production, precious metal and mining, marine shipping, and so on. These have been coming up for quite some time. Now I'm going to make a group from this. I'll just call this market leaders. There's 111 of them on Friday. I'll go ahead and make an index on this. Then I'm going to go back up here to that view that I just showed you. View number 4. Sorted on raw combo, percentage change since the beginning of the year. You can see there are some tremendous numbers in here on these stocks. The highest, okay, some of these are actually down a little bit from the beginning of the year, but looking at the percentage price change one day, many of them did fine this week. Several of them were down, but they're still leaders because I base it upon, I need to go back. Sorry about that. Let's go back to my market view. Quick pick. Market leaders. I want to show you this filter. It's a very simple filter. Fan uptrend. EMA fan is up. Common stock. 90-day moving average volume. 500,000 shares. RS rank 90. Kirkpatrick RS rank 90 at least on both of these. And these can be down no more than 7% from their 52-week high. So it's a simple filter, but it does the job. Going to go back up to the top here. Sort on raw combo again. This is just my market leaders view. Once again, I want to go back up to view number 4. Yeah, make sure you make the group first if you do this, and you can see how these stocks have done over longer time period. Yes, there's been some short-term weakness in some of these. No question about it. Look at the relative strength here. As I scroll down this list, you can see these longer time periods are pretty much green. Let's take a quick look at the index. You can see what the index looks like. Big spurt beginning here, double bottom, and then it took off. To find the stocks that are doing best at this point or are leading the most, this is a trick I like to use. Just click on the ranking module. I like to go into Wilder 14-day, go up to the top, click on that. Well, that's a buyout. That doesn't count, does it? And go down the list. These that are at the top of the list using the Wilder RSI 14 weeks, they're going to be some of the strongest stocks. Are going to be near the top of their trading range. If you look down the lower right corner while I'm doing this, there's another buyout. I don't bother to take the buyouts out because they will be eliminated when they quit trading. And I just don't want to take the time to do it. Now, if you'd like to eliminate those buyouts yourself, you're certainly welcome to do it. I keep a running record of these in my non-index files under market leaders, and I've been doing it since January, and I do it every day. Let me show you something quickly, and then I'm going to end this video. Okay, what do we have? 112 of these. Going to go into my designer. Going to click on the group inclusion report, market leaders. I'm going to check children. Oh, I'm sorry about that. That's the one I just made. I want to clear that. I want to go into my non-index groups, and I want to go into the market leaders folder, and I'm going to check the children, which means that all of these are going to be checked. And let's see how many times these stocks have appeared since I began doing this on January 19th. Okay, you can see that ABBV started appearing on, well, it was there the first day. And it's appeared 37 times in my market groups. Chevron, McKesson, Targa, Canadian Natural Resources. None of these have been buyouts, so you can see that these continue to appear, and they started appearing a long time ago. Let's just take a look at some of these. ABBV. Okay. So when did I start recording these? Okay, the first one appeared on the 19th of January. Okay, it appeared here and then it pulled back, but it was a leader at this point. Didn't get down below 7% off the 52-week high, and then it took off. Let's look at it on this chart. What is this date right here? 24th. You can see it was pulling back here. My chart, the undercut and rally chart, it pulled back here. This is the time period, and then it started showing accumulation right here on these 2 days. The 3 crossed the 6, and it really hasn't looked back since then. These undercut and rally charts are really good, if I don't say so myself, because they look for accumulation either with VPA flags or with bullish candles. Let's do one more. What did I say? Chevron. CVX, I had the wrong symbol, so it's CVX. It appeared multiple times, as I showed you, and you can see that it's been on a really nice run lately. Once again, going back to this undercut and rally chart. Here's a nice move here, pulled back, accumulation days, crossover, accumulation days, crossover, and it's made this huge run. Anyway, these stocks all have shown up multiple times over this period. Another thing you can look at is if you go back to that market chart, or I'm sorry, market leaders chart. This is my standard chart. It tells you the number of days since a stock crossed the 3, crossed the 6, and the number of days since the volume point of control crossed over. Let's take a look at NTR, and then I'll end this. So this tells me 28 days ago the 3 crossed the 6, which would be back at this point, and the volume point of control crossed over about the same time. So this is why I use the scorecard view. I can instantly see which stocks have been strong for a long time and those that may be beginning their run or have pulled back. You can see these are in the columns, on the down columns. Let's take a look at bottom line technology. Well, that's a buyout. Now these buyouts are going to appear in here because some of them, because they just aren't moving anymore. Let's take a look at Hershey Foods here. This might be a good example. You can see it pulled back, but looking at this chart, more information. The group is pulling back, which would make me very leery. The 3 is crossed below the 6, but we've had one accumulation day, and it tried to go up again. So you can get a lot of information out of this scorecard and the chart. That's it. This went a little longer than I thought, but I hope you found this useful.